All right, so I'm in Central America. Um, I was in San Francisco in early pandemic. I was like, wow, this is freaking awesome. Streets are empty, surf is empty. But then things got weird. And I was like scrambling to try and maintain control over things I had no control over. And that was stressing me out. So I finally woke up one morning and just bought a one-way ticket to El Salvador and left that night with a little backpack and stuff in it. But plenty, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, traveling, the more you carry, the more you carry. I don't want to carry a whole lot of stuff, right? Anyway, Central America is amazing. It's been so nice. Went first over to Honduras, learned how to scuba dive. Scuba diving in Honduras is really incredible. Honduras, the island of Utila, is really, really cool. It's a little bit weird because they speak English for the most part there. But anyway, beautiful place. They would do themselves a favor by limiting motorized traffic. Like the waterfront is literally not much more than a mile. Electric bicycles, if anything, would really. I'd love to see them adopt a no noisy machine thing. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna need a truck to move stuff every now and then, but they would like. The other place you go is Roatan, and Roatan is much more developed. And Utila could do a great come to Utila where things are quiet and chill. But anyway, diving there's great. There's Underwater Vision, I believe is the name of the company that I went with, and I cannot say enough about them. They provide accommodations, lessons for and legit lessons. You learn a lot. And I mean, there's a lot to know. There's a lot to flipping know. Like, you're scuba diving. We went down to I don't know, 30 feet, 50 feet. I don't know. Went down far enough that you kind of need to know how to use your equipment. You know what I mean? And we did several dives, many days. And it cost less than $400. I mean, shit, you can't buy a hangover for $400 in the US these days, you know? Not that that's what you're really looking for. But anyway, really, really great lessons. You do have to pay attention and learn what you're doing. You meet great people, stay at this really, really great summer camp type environment. And then you are certified, assuming that you pass your test, to go and dive in other places around the world. But there's a huge living barrier reef with amazing fish and the whole thing. So super cool, great trip. Let's see, Guatemala, cultural mecca. Culturally, probably as amazing as anything you'll see in Central and South America. And I think, India's got great cultural diversity, no doubt. So it's tough to compare where you're going to find the most culture. There is a really sad reality in Guatemala whereby during the Civil War, which is just a horrendous, let's not go into it, but there was an element whereby they were killing people that had traditional garb, thinking that they were the enemy. Can you think of anything more painful? Fortunately, there still is a lot of traditional garb, and though it is somewhat geared toward the tourist industry, it is still, their culture. Guatemala, can't say enough about it. Mountains, rivers, the city of Antigua, I think, is probably among the coolest places you can spend, a couple days. I don't know that you need to spend forever there, right? But it's small enough that you can walk around it in a day, chill out overnight. You can take little excursions out from there. If you want to go to language school, by the way, I would think Antigua, Guatemala would be a must go. I went to language school in Malaga, Spain, had a really good time in the 80s. Now I hear it's more of a little bit of a racy city. When I went there, I lived in a fishing village and it was really quite chill. Anyway, Guatemala's out of this world. El Salvador is kind of like the undiscovered, a bit like Costa Rica was 30 years ago. Costa Rica is flipping gorgeous. Wow, man. Absolutely, unbelievably beautiful. But it has been discovered, and it is, you're paying like American prices. I mean, literally, it's crazy expensive. El Salvador is still inexpensive, and there is an element of a criminal element, however you want to say it. I don't want to go into this in too much detail, but there has been an element that has been holding it back substantially. And that has been really unfortunate and very real. Not so much problem to like tourists like you and I. Like I cruised around all over this place with like my daughter on the back of the motorcycle, and there was even a sort of an unspoken word, don't mess with tourists. But I don't think I should speak too much on this issue. There was a recent event of large number of casualties whereby the president declared kind of like martial law. So it's good and it's bad. Obviously, if you've got things so out of control that people are just killing randomly, you have an issue. I'm not suggesting I have the answers, but and I'm not taking a side, don't shoot me. But the idea is, if we think that you are part of the criminal element, we will pull you in and you will spend time in prison, and we'll figure out what's going on. And that's not always good, because not everybody in prison is part of this. And some of them are dying, and we're going to move on from there. El Salvador's got incredibly beautiful beaches. There is, I must say, I'm trying to think, do I want to talk about this? A little bit of a bummer. I have found, for the most part, people are, everywhere you go, I speak Spanish, and everywhere you go, people tend to be really, really cool, right? And I'm more of a couple palm trees and a hammock kind of guy, right? But I'm kicking with a family that wanted to do something special. So they wanted to go to this like all-inclusive, it's like not my thing, right? All-inclusive resort type place. And I'm like, it's cool, you know what I mean? Like roll with it, right? And there wasn't much for me to do, but there was a jet ski. So I rented a jet ski and I rode it like I stole it. I like these things. They go fast and whatever. I'm running around. And I go over a little bit of in the air. And things fast, but a little bit rusted. And as I come down, I bend the handle ever so slightly, right? So I chat with the cat, and I'm like, yo, this is, something you really want to look into if you're going to rent these things out. You may want to, be sure I can swim. I'm a surfer, and I'm going to be okay. But if the freaking handle falls off, somebody falls, it might have an issue. So no big deal. Pay you in full. We're all good. So I go to leave this flipping overstated hotel. And this pompous little prick with his whole posse comes storming at me like, yo, your credit card's canceled. And I'm like, well, why is my credit card canceled? He's like, because I just tried to charge $700 on it. I'm like, why did you charge $700 for my credit card? Long story short, this prick was like, you've been faking hand on my jet ski. And it says right here in the contract that you owe me $700. The contract basically reads, if I abuse this machine, then I have to pay for it. So it's obviously ridiculous. But he calls the police. You're like, that's cool. I speak the language, will be cool. And I spend half the day talking to the police. Some countries, the police aren't paid terribly well. So sometimes they're subsidized by supporting less than ethical behavior like this. I'm not suggesting that that's what happened here, but in the end, I got 6 cops, 4 with machine guns standing around me, right? And they're more military than police. And the story goes like, you're going to go to jail if you don't give us $700 right now. So I have to, and I was alerted from my bank, fraud alert. So I have to call my bank and be like, look, we have a minor issue. Fortunately, this is when it's really nice. And I don't mean to sound overly American, but this is really when it's nice to have elements of America. Because I called them and I'm like, this is essentially extortion. I have to give them this money right now. They're like, don't worry about it. They freaking will, freaking let you out of there, and they will not get that money. So that, I've got to fill out a little paperwork and what have you, but that felt kind of good. Because you can imagine, like, as charming as I am, I don't think a Salvadorian prison is a good place for me to be. Anyway, we moved on. Where did we go from there? Oh, then I went to Guatemala. Yeah, Guatemala's really cool. Really, really flipping amazing. and it's developed a fair bit. Antigua was a little bit more chilled when I was there for the first time. But like, don't be the freaking guy that's like, yeah, this is nothing like it used to be because I was here like, whatever, a million years ago. Okay, Grandpa would get it. You're old. Take it for what it is, or go away. Some places you're just better off going away, like Koh Phangan, Thailand. I remember when, it was like a couple hundred people and a generator and you had a little dance party. Now it's like 10,000 people on boats and you might have the best time of your life there. So it's not for me to decide where you should go. But, make your own decision, right? Antigua was still absolutely charming. And, actually I think of Hawaii the same way. I didn't go to Hawaii for a long time, so I'm like, it's going to be ruined. Yeah, there's a lot of development there, but it's been really tastefully done. So, you can find things to complain about, and if that's your thing, complain away. But I don't know, I still think there's a lot of nice places to see. So Guatemala, Lake Atitlan, which is cool. A little bit more touristy than I thought. There's some places that are way touristy, but it's kind of cool. This really nice lake, and then there's indigenous populations that are connected by boat, not roads, which is very cool. And you can find your scene at Lake Atitlan. Some is like crazy. I found myself in one like tourist ghetto. Didn't realize where we were. And there's tourist ghettos. I mean, like Khao San Street, Bangkok used to be like cutty little village. Now it's total tourist ghetto. That doesn't mean it's a horrible thing. It just means that you're gonna fucking get mad number of tourists getting stupid and sleeping in cheap places or expensive places, whatever. It's just freaking chaos, right? But anyway, all of a sudden, I realized where I was, and there was this long freaking bus ride, and this was the second time I'd been there, whatever. Anyway, point is, you can find the kind of place you want to go. It might take you a little bit of effort to get there. Some really cool lakes in Guatemala, too. I can't think of the name of them. Never mind. No, I'm talking about Guatemala. El Salvador. El Salvador has really freaking cool lakes. Beautiful lakes. One of them turns turquoise a certain time of year. I went to that one, and it's really flipping amazing. Can't remember the name of it. But, get out a map. It's a small place. Oh, other things in El Salvador. They did some cool stuff for tourism in El Salvador. La Ruta de las Mayas. There's maps. La Ruta de las Flores. La Ruta de Art, maybe? I don't know. But I have a friend named Weil who lives in El Tunco, which is a very chill a surf town. Very, very fun wave. Really pretty easy wave. There's a La Bocana, which breaks a little heavier, or Sonzal, which is a little bit more of a mushy ride. Anyway, it is soon to be a very popular spot. I probably am not helping by telling you this. But they have a Weil rents motorcycles. I think I was his first customer. I like to think I helped him get started, but that's probably an overstatement. But he had a motorcycle, I rented it. And long story short, I had my daughter on the back, forgot our passports, and didn't have any proof that I owned it, and ended up accidentally at the border of Guatemala and El Salvador without passports, papers, any reason to justify crossing an international border on a motorcycle. Oh my God, I was terrified. All these guys with machine guns telling me not to turn around. I just did freaking Queen's Wave, man, because I'm like, I cannot possibly stop here. They separate men and women. My daughter would be in a separate jail. No, I'm not going there. So I took my chance with the bullets and we just rode on. The other thing was, apparently you were supposed to have shoes on, which I did not, and your shirt on, which I did not. And I think I might not have been wearing a helmet. So they were very forgiving and we got out of there. But anyway, there's a lot of different routes that you can take that take you to really beautiful places. Ataco has this incredible art scene, and there's like this is El Salvador I'm talking about. There's a lake that's kind of reminds me a lot of like Lake Tahoe region. It's higher altitude. You can get out of the heat really quick, climbing these volcanoes and mountains. Super, super, super fun. Super, super amazing. Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras. I think that's all I've been to so far. Might go to Nicaragua. I just booked a flight. I didn't want to leave, right? Work's calling, and my dad's health is waning a bit. And, whatever, it's time to go home, right? So I book a flight, and my friend is helping me. And she's like, boom, got it. And then she's like, wait, no, it looks like that flight just changed. The flight that you got super cheap is 2 weeks from now. So I'm like, all right. So we got that going for us. In the meantime, I think we're going to have like a pig roast for our family reunion. As a town called San Juan of Pico, where my friend's family, like, they like our big family there. Thursdays, like the cattle wrestling day, and they have freaking bring in all kinds of livestock, and sell the livestock and all that kind of thing. And then there's like this river. We go hang out at this river and jump off. It's just like the super, like, I've been super lucky because, like, I don't know, no matter who you are, ever since the first time I came to El Salvador, you come to El Salvador, people are like, yo, come stay at my house. But I had my little kid with me on a motorcycle, so I was like, thanks for the invite. And they were like, no worries, I get it. You got a little kid with you. You don't know me. It's cool. But this time, I've been staying with people the whole time. And it's just fantastic. You know, like, there's a couple things. If you're going to stay with people, help out how you can. They got their own way of doing things. Everybody hates doing dishes. At the very least, do the dishes. It's a great way of like showing respect. And that goes a long way. You know, you can obviously do more. But yeah, help out around the house. Get to know the culture. I like, you know, you see people unloading like bags of ice going into, you know, their store. Throw a bag of ice on your shoulder. It represents well, you know what I mean? They're like, wow, this guy freaking cool. And you'd be surprised at what cool things happen when you're cool to people. That's all I can think of. I could ramble forever, but that'll be enough for now.